Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. My name is Todd David Goldfinger, and here are today's top stories. Thanks for being with us. A father of four, a best friend with a positive personality, a vivacious partygoer. The 6 people who were killed during a mass shooting in California's capital city were remembered by their friends and family as police worked to piece together what happened. Dozens of rapid-fire gunshots rang out early Sunday in the crowded streets of Sacramento, leaving 3 women and 3 men dead, and another 12 people wounded. One of the dozen wounded is a suspect in the bloodshed. Police have arrested 2 brothers in connection with the violence, but authorities have not said what their alleged roles were in the shooting. Police previously said they were looking for at least 2 shooters, but have not made clear if any suspects remain at large Tuesday. Smiley Martin, 27, was arrested while hospitalized with serious injuries from the gunfire, Sacramento police said Tuesday morning. When his condition improves enough for him to be jailed, he will be booked for possession of a firearm by a prohibited person and possession of a machine gun. On Monday, authorities booked Zandre Martin, 26, as a related suspect on charges of assault with a deadly weapon and being a convict carrying a loaded gun. Jail records said he was held without bail and he was scheduled to appear in court Tuesday. Next news. Southerners were clearing streets from roads and buildings as weather forecasters plan to survey damage from several possible tornadoes in Georgia and South Carolina, but said that effort could be interrupted by the potential for more storms Wednesday. Tuesday's storms killed at least 2 people, one in Texas and another in Georgia, and left thousands of people without power across the South. More than 7,000 customers in Texas and more than 5,000 in Georgia remained without power early Wednesday, according to PowerOutage.us, which tracks outages nationwide. In Bryan County, Georgia, just west of Savannah, a state of emergency was declared and a curfew was in effect through early Wednesday morning to prevent trespassing in tornado-damaged areas near the communities of Pembroke and Ellabelle areas. A woman died Tuesday evening in Bryan County, where a suspected tornado ripped part of the roof from the Bryan County courthouse, destroyed the entrance to a local government building across the street, and damaged homes in nearby neighborhoods, said Matthew Kent, a county government spokesperson. Several other people were injured in the county, he said. Next news. Thousands of cryptocurrency enthusiasts are gathering in Miami as the city builds its reputation as one of the key locations to develop the blockchain technology, despite its underdog status. Dozens of companies are using the Bitcoin 2022 conference running Wednesday through Friday as a venue to network, pitch ideas, and share announcements to the industry and beyond. New York City and Silicon Valley continue to lead in funding raised by blockchain startups in 2021 with $6.5 billion and $3.9 billion. But Miami is now tied with Los Angeles, where firms pulled in more than $760 million in funding, according to market research firm CB Insights. Cryptocurrency exchange FTX bought the naming rights for the NBA arena in downtown Miami last year, replacing American Airlines. The largest crypto company to move to Miami so far, Blockchain.com, will house 200 employees at a location in the hip Wynwood district, where other tech firms and investors are setting up shops as well. In quotes. Wynwood just really has that sort of spirit that you are looking for when a new tech sector is built, said Blockchain.com CEO and co-founder Peter Smith, comparing it to San Francisco's South of Market neighborhood and New York City's Brooklyn. In quotes, ultimately, you want to be with the other tech companies, end quotes. Next news. Former Trump administration officials are pressing Texas Governor Greg Abbott to declare an invasion along the U.S.-Mexico border and give thousands of state troopers and National Guard members sweeping new authority to turn back migrants, essentially bestowing enforcement powers that have been a federal responsibility. The urging comes as the Republican governor prepares to announce Wednesday unprecedented actions to deter migrants coming to Texas after the Biden administration announced last week it will end the use of public health law that has limited asylum to prevent the spread of COVID-19. It is unclear whether Abbott, who is up for re-election in November and is already installing more border barrier and allowing troopers to arrest migrants on trespassing charges, supports the aggressive proposals former Trump officials are pushing. Abbott did not elaborate on what steps he will announce Wednesday. Border Patrol officials say they are planning for as many as 18,000 arrivals daily once the health policy, known as the Title 42 Authority, expires in May. Last week, about 7,100 migrants were coming a day to the southern U.S. border. We're going to take a short break from the daily global English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here's the continuation of today's top stories. Thanks for being with us. As gruesome videos and photos of bodies emerge from the Kiev suburb of Bucha, Kremlin-backed media are denouncing them as an elaborate hoax, a narrative that journalists in Ukraine have shown to be false. Denouncing news as fake or spreading false reports to sow confusion and undermine its adversaries are tactics that Moscow has used for years and refined with the advent of social media in places like Syria. In detailed broadcasts to millions of viewers, correspondents and hosts of Russian state TV channels said Tuesday that some photo and video evidence of the killings were fake, while others showed that Ukrainians were responsible for the bloodshed. In quotes, among the first to appear were these Ukrainian shots, which show how a soulless body suddenly moves its hand. End quotes. A report Monday on Russia's One's evening news broadcast declared, in quotes. And in the rearview mirror, it is noticeable that the dead seem to be starting to rise even, end quotes. But satellite images from early March show the dead were left out on the streets of Bucha for weeks. On April 2nd, a video taken from a moving car was posted online by a Ukrainian lawyer showing those same bodies scattered along Yablonska Street in Bucha. High-resolution satellite images of Bucha from commercial provider Maxar Technology reviewed by the Associated Press independently matched the location of the bodies with separate videos from the scene. Other Western media had similar reports. Next news. Kiev was a Russian defeat for the ages. The fight started poorly for the invaders and went downhill from there. When President Vladimir Putin launched his war on February 24th, after months of buildup on Ukraine's borders, he sent hundreds of helicopter-borne commandos, Russia's finest, Spetsnaz, special forces soldiers, to assault and seize a lightly defended airfield on Kiev's doorstep. Other Russian forces struck elsewhere across Ukraine, including toward the eastern city of Kharkiv, as well as in the contested Donbas region and along the Black Sea coast. But as the seat of national power, Kiev was the main prize. Thus, the thrust by elite airborne forces in the war's opening hours. But Putin failed to achieve his goal of quickly crushing Ukraine's outgunned and outnumbered army. The Russians were ill-prepared for Ukrainian resistance, proved incapable of adjusting to setbacks, failed to effectively combine air and land operations, misjudged Ukraine's ability to defend its skies, and bungled basic military functions like planning and executing the movement of supplies. That's a really bad combination if you want to conquer a country, said Peter Mansour, a retired Army colonel and professor of military history at Ohio State University. Next news. The House will vote Wednesday on whether to hold former Trump advisors Peter Navarro and Dan Scavino in contempt of Congress after their months-long refusal to comply with subpoenas from the House committee investigating the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. If approved as expected, the criminal referrals will be sent to the Justice Department, which would decide whether to prosecute. Navarro, 72 years old, a former White House trade advisor, was subpoenaed in early February over his promotion of false claims of voter fraud in the 2020 elections that the committee believes contributed to the attack. Scavino, a communications aide, was with Trump the day of the attack on the Capitol and may have materials relevant to his videotaping and tweeting messages that day, the committee said. While the contempt efforts may not yield any new information for the committee, any prosecutions could drag for months or years. They are an effort by the 9-member panel to signal that witnesses will suffer consequences if they don't cooperate or at least appear for questioning. The panel has already been remarkably effective at gaining testimony, conducting more than 800 witnesses in the 9 months since it was created. Next news. By announcing they will vote to confirm Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson as the first Black woman to the Supreme Court. 3 Republican senators are marking the historical moment by building legacies of their own. Every senator has a voice, and some choose to use theirs. The 3 Republican senators, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, and Mitt Romney, have broken with their party at critical junctures, despite the political risks of standing alone. The 3 said separately that they don't expect to agree with all of Jackson's rulings from the bench. President Joe Biden's nominee to replace retiring Justice Stephen Breyer will likely join the liberal wing of the High Court and is not expected to tilt its 6-3 balance toward conservatives. But the senators also indicated the Harvard-educated judge is more than just likable, well-qualified, and possessing the judicial temperament to do the job. They said she is deserving of confirmation. As the other Republican senators line up to oppose Jackson, the support from the 3 outliers gives Biden the bipartisan backing he was seeking for the historic choice, but may do little to shield them from the blowback of party leaders and activists back home. We're going to take a short break from the daily global English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here's a continuation of today's top stories. China on Wednesday said images of civilian deaths in the Ukrainian town of Bucha are deeply disturbing, but that no blame should be apportioned until all facts are known. Emerging evidence of what appeared to be widespread civilian massacres in the wake of Russian withdrawals from the Kiev areas may complicate Beijing's attempts to guide public opinion over the conflict, in which China has refused to criticize Moscow. China supports all initiatives and measures conducive to alleviating the humanitarian crisis, end quotes, in the country, and is ready to continue to work together with the international community to prevent any harm to civilians. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Zhao Lijian told reporters at a daily briefing, in quotes, "The truth and the cause of the incident must be verified," end quotes, Zhao said. In quotes, "All parties should exercise restraint and avoid unfounded accusations before a conclusion of the investigation is drawn," end quotes. Zhao's remarks echo those of China's ambassador to the United Nations, Zhang Jun, who earlier called for an investigation, also describing the reports and images of civilian deaths in Bucha as deeply disturbing. Next news. Sri Lanka's president will not step down and instead will face the country's political and economic crisis. A key government minister said Wednesday, despite continuing large protests that are demanding his resignation. Sri Lanka has endured months of shortages of fuel and other essentials, and the protests over the economic troubles have spread nationwide and expanded to criticism of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and his politically powerful family. Rajapaksa has resisted the calls for him to resign even after members of his own coalition made them this week, with governing party lawmakers saying an interim government should replace him, and is failing to do so would make them responsible for violence. Rajapaksa, in quotes, will not resign. We will face this. We have the strength to face this. We are not afraid, end quotes. Minister of Highways Johnston Fernando told Parliament on Wednesday. Hours earlier, Rajapaksa revoked the state of emergency that he had declared last week after crowds of protesters demonstrated near his home in the capital, Colombo. The widely criticized emergency declaration gave him sweeping authority to act to protect public security, including suspending any laws, authorizing detentions, and seizing property. Next news. India and Australia's trade ministers say a shared security partnership with the United States and Japan has helped them strike a deal that Australia hopes will reduce its dependence on exports to China. Indian Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal is heading a business mission to the Australian cities of Melbourne, Sydney, and Perth to explore new opportunities created by the interim deal signed virtually on Saturday. India views the agreement as a diplomatic coup that deepens its engagements with Australia at a time when it's under pressure to take a stronger stand against Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Both countries belong to the security bloc known as the Quad, which also includes the United States and Japan. For Australia, the deal opens a huge market to exporters before Prime Minister Scott Morrison's Conservative coalition seeks re-election next month. Friction between the Morrison government and Beijing has brought a series of official and unofficial Chinese trade sanctions on Australian exports, including coal, beef, seafood, wine, and barley. Trade Minister Dan Tehan said at a joint press conference with Goyal in Melbourne on Wednesday that the Australian-Indian bilateral relationship was growing strongly through the Quad. Next news. As Costa Rica's future president cast his ballot at a school in the capital, a young woman stood on the sidewalk outside shouting, "Harasser!" She was surrounded and drowned out by Rodrigo Chavez's supporters, but stood her ground. A purple handkerchief that read, "For our right to decide," tied around her neck. Chavez ignored her if he noticed at all. The heckling was a public display of concerns held by some Costa Rican women about the conservative economist who won Sunday's election and will take office May 8th. In socially conservative Central America, Costa Rica has shown signs of more progressive tendencies in recent years. Abortion remains illegal except in cases where the mother's life or health is at risk. But 2 years ago, it became the first country to legalize same-sex marriage. Chavez has drawn women's ire because the World Bank found that he sexually harassed various women while he was employed there. Ultimately, he was sanctioned for misconduct, demoted, and pushed out. He was continually denied the allegations and misstated the actions taken against him. That history was highlighted repeatedly by his opponent, Jose Maria Figueres, during a bruising 2 months between the first round of voting and Sunday's runoff. We're going to take a short break from the daily global English news of Millennium News TV. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here's a continuation of today's top stories. Stocks are opening lower and bond yields are rising on Wall Street, again as investors try to estimate how quickly the Federal Reserve will move to pull back on its support for the economy and switch to fighting inflation. Technology companies, including chip makers, were taking some of the biggest hits in the early going Wednesday, pulling the Nasdaq Composite down 1.7%. The broader S&P 500 index gave up 1.1%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average slipped 0.9%. Investors will be looking closely at minutes released later in the day from the Fed's latest policy meeting for more clues about its next steps. Markets were on track to open lower on Wednesday after a Federal Reserve official's comments fueled expectations of more aggressive rate hikes, and the White House announced more sanctions on Russia. On Wall Street, futures for the S&P 500 tumbled 0.9%, and the same for the Dow Jones Industrial Average retreated 0.7%. Shares in London and Frankfurt were sharply lower in midday trading. Tokyo and Hong Kong fell, while Shanghai was little changed. Oil prices rose more than $1 per barrel, nearly reversing Tuesday's losses. Next news. Bank mergers and acquisitions happen regularly and can lead to streamlined services and better offerings for consumers. But they can also sometimes create challenges like less access to branches or consumer service difficulties. If your bank is merging or being acquired, it will probably try to make the transition process of moving your account as frictionless as possible. But if the new bank doesn't have the services and features that you need, you'll probably want to shop around for another bank. For the most part, the best way to handle changes to your account after a merger is to be patient. Weigh your options and keep track of any new debit cards or documents that your new bank sends you. With a merger, your bank won't typically close your account and will work with you to set up as a customer of the new bank. End quotes. Mergers give banks the opportunity to expand horizontally and vertically, faster and more efficiently. End quote, says Francisco Alvarez Evangelista, advisor at the financial analysis company Ita Navarica Group, in quotes. More likely than not, they want to keep your business and they're going to do their best to make sure the customer experience stays consistent. End quotes. Next news. Following a public uproar, Shanghai is allowing at least some parents to stay with children infected with COVID-19, making an exception to a policy of isolating anyone who tests positive. The announcement came as China's largest city remained in lockdown and conducted more mass testing Wednesday, following another jump in new cases. A top city health official said at a news conference that parents can apply to stay with children with special needs and accompany them if they fully comprehend the health risks and sign an agreement. Parents must wear masks, dine at a different time than their children, avoid sharing items with them, and strictly follow all regulations, said Wu Kuan-yu of the Shanghai Municipal Health Commission. She did not define what qualifies as special needs. Her announcement followed Chinese state media reports a day earlier that an isolation site set up at the Shanghai New International Expo Center was accepting children with parents. The city has opened sprawling isolation centers for tens of thousands of people to isolate the growing number of positive cases. Next news. The number of coronavirus cases reported globally has dropped for a second consecutive week, and confirmed COVID-19 deaths also fell last week, according to a World Health Organization report issued Wednesday. In its latest pandemic report, WHO said 9 million cases were reported, a 16% weekly decline, and more than 26,000 new deaths from COVID-19. The UN Health Agency said confirmed coronavirus infections were down in all regions of the world. However, it warned that the reported numbers carry considerable uncertainty because many countries have stopped widespread testing for the coronavirus, meaning that many cases are likely going undetected. WHO said it was also tracking an Omicron variant that is a recombination of two versions, BA.1 and BA.2, which was first detected in Britain in January. WHO said early estimates suggest the recombined Omicron could be about 10% more transmissible than previous mutations, but further evidence is needed. The agency has continued to warn countries not to drop their COVID-19 protocols too quickly and predicted that future variants could spread easily if surveillance and testing systems are shelved. We're going to take a short break from the daily global English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here's a continuation of today's top stories. Thanks for being with us. For soprano Aylin Perez, being rejected by the man she loves is all a part of the job these days. But accepting a marriage proposal in front of a live audience, that was once in a lifetime. Perez is currently starring at the Metropolitan Opera as Tatiana, the shy country girl who is smitten at first sight of the haughty title character in Tchaikovsky's Eugene Onegin, only to be promptly rebuffed. In between performances, she's engaged in a much happier romantic venture, planning her wedding to bass Solomon Howard. Now that opera houses are back in business, it's rare for two in-demand singers to be in the same place. But Perez said they hope to make it happen before September. Howard's proposal last September during the curtain call after Puccini's Tosca in San Francisco was captured on video and made headlines. The couple had been together since before the pandemic, and this was the first return to live performances in the US for both. Next news. Rapper Tory Lanez I love this guy, was briefly jailed Tuesday after a judge said he had violated a protective order in a felony assault case in which he is charged with shooting rapper Megan Thee Stallion in the feet. Oof. Oof. Lane's 29, whose legal name is Daystar Peterson, was handcuffed in a Los Angeles courtroom and taken to jail. Oof. He posted bail and was released several hours later. At the hearing, Superior Court Judge David Hereford found that Peterson had violated orders that he not contact or harass Megan and that he did not discuss evidence with outside parties. While Peterson didn't directly contact Megan, Hereford said some of his tweets appeared to be clear messages to her, and he ordered Peterson not to mention her in any social media. Peterson's lawyer, Sean Hawley, said in court that he did not supply information to a Twitter user who posted in February that Peterson's DNA was not found on the weapon in the case. In her argument, Hawley said the tweet, now deleted, was not entirely accurate. She said that an investigation showed there were 4 DNA contributors on the handgun, making it inconclusive whether Peterson's DNA was found. She said his DNA was definitely not found to be on the Guns magazine. Next news. The shots kept falling for Devin Booker, who appeared he was trying to prove a point. The Phoenix Suns are the best team in the NBA this season, and according to the standings, it isn't particularly close. Booker scored 32 points to lead the Suns to their franchise record 63rd victory Tuesday night, beating a Lakers team minus LeBron James 121 to 110 points to eliminate Los Angeles from the playoff race. In quotes, "Tonight is unbelievably special for so many people," end quotes. Suns coach Monty Williams said, in quotes, "Not just the organization, but the people in the city who have basically birthed the Suns. Everywhere I go, people say the Suns are their baby." In quotes, "It's hard to put it into words, but they're all pretty grateful," end quotes. Booker signed his jersey during the post-game celebration before handing it to team radio broadcaster Al McCoy, who is in the midst of his 50th season on the microphone. McCoy has watched a lot of good basketball over a half-century, describing stars such as Charles Barkley, Walter Davis, and Steve Nash. But none of them won as many games for the Suns in one season as this Booker and Chris Paul-led team. Next news. Mary Gray hadn't even made it all the way to the first tee at Augusta National Golf Club when the reality of the protective bubble that settles over the course during Masters Week fully set in. She knew the club's no phone call policy and dutifully left her cell in her group's rental car, standing near the massive leaderboard to the right of the first fairway before Tuesday's practice round and clutching a disposable camera that took multiple trips to a drugstore to secure. Gray kept reflexively tapping her pocket. "I'm jonesing," Grace said, with an exasperated laugh. She's not alone. Part of the Master's enduring appeal is its timelessness. In quotes. "It's like a different world when you walk through the gates," end quotes, said 21-year-old Tim Nelson of Atlanta, clad from head to toe in Masters swag while watching Tiger Woods chipping 30 yards away. A world that predates selfies and social media and all other daily distractions that fit in the palm of our hands. To step onto the perfectly manicured grass is like boarding a 352-acre time machine. It comes with its perks, such as azaleas in bloom, pimento cheese sandwiches that run just $1.50, and a chance to truly unplug for a few hours. This has been the daily global English news update of Millennium News TV 24/7. Um, Thank you for watching. Please log in to get the latest news on all of our social networking sites: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, also TikTok as well. On TikTok, we are Millennium News 24. Also, on YouTube, our YouTube channel, gotta check it out. It's News Channel M24. On YouTube, we're News Channel M24. Viewers now on both network broadcasting, Android and iOS devices, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, also all smart TV platforms. Please enjoy our entertainment, our latest news, views, current events, and editorials. Our Millennium TV apps: Millennium TV USA, Android, Millennium News, Google us, look us up on the web, www.millenniumnews24.com. Please stay with Millennium News 24. We love you. We thank you. God bless. Peace.